If you are here watching this right now, it means that you have noticed that your child seems to be reading a lot more words than they're able to spell. Okay. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, how did they just read this word? This is amazing. But then they bring home something from school and you're like, I have no idea what this says. Trust me, I get it. I have a first grader right now, and we were driving in the car, and one of my very favorite past songs came on. Okay. It's the song Bye 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 by NSYNC. Oh my gosh, I love this song. It comes up, but right now, as I'm recording this, the movie Deadpool and Wolverine came out. So it's like, and they have that song in the movie. So on the little screen on our car, it says Bye Bye Bye, Deadpool and Wolverine. And my son, who's in first grade, looks over and goes, Mom, does that say Deadpool and Wolverine? And for a second, my heart was like, oh my gosh, my son's a genius. He can read Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh my gosh, look at that. And then I took a step back and went, well, okay, he memorized those words. He saw it on a commercial or whatever. And he doesn't actually have the skills to read Deadpool and Wolverine, which is fine. He's in first grade and he hasn't learned all those skills yet. So it's completely fine. But that tells me he memorized those. He didn't decode and read those words. If I asked him to spell those, it probably wouldn't even be close. Like he'd listen for the sounds he could hear. He doesn't understand all the phonics patterns because he hasn't learned them. So it's all good. It's all good. But that's my story of knowing, okay, if your child is reading more words than they're spelling, it means that something might be going on, especially if you have a child who is, let's say, middle of the year, first grade and on. My son's at the beginning of the year right now, currently, as I'm recording this, middle of the year, first grade and on. If you're starting to see that, wow, they're reading way better than they're spelling, this is a red flag that I want all parents to be aware of. Okay. We're going to talk about what gaps it might be, what it means for your child's development, and a simple tip you can use and implement today to transform your child's spelling. Okay. That's something it's so simple, but I want every single parent to know about it. I'm going to talk about my Miss Buddy Reads kit and how you can grab it today and we can teach your child spelling for you. But before we get into that, let's talk about what gaps it could mean if your child is reading way better than what they're spelling, okay? What this means is they probably have gaps in their early skills, such as phonemic awareness. So this is hearing sounds in words. Hearing sounds in words is an essential skill when it comes to spelling. They have to be able to think about the word and break it up into each individual sound. And if that is hard for them, their spelling is going to be impacted, okay? The second gap that they might have would be in their letter recognition, their basic letters. Do they confidently know every single letter sound and every single letter name? And can they write every single letter confidently? If they can't do those three things, their spelling is going to be impacted, especially sounds and writing, I should say. The names have less to do with it, but the sounds and the writing, they have to be able to do to be able to spell. And then phonics. Do they know other sounds? So if I say the word dime, do they know that for the I to say its own name, it needs an E at the end? Do they know the magic E skill? If they don't know those skills, their spelling is going to get impacted. So if you're seeing gaps, it's likely phonemic awareness, letters, or phonics, or a combination of those could be impacting those spelling. And why this is a problem, because I know a lot of parents will be like, let's just ignore it. It'll be fine. But if it's left unchecked, this is going to limit their ability to decode new words moving forward. And if they can't decode new words moving forward, it impacts their fluency. It impacts their comprehension. They're not understanding what they're reading, and they start to really hate reading. They really start to hate it because they're like, I don't understand it anyways. Why would I like doing this? So it's very important that we help find and fill any gaps that they have in their early skills. I imagine it almost like a leaky roof. Okay. Let's say one day you wake up and you go, oh man, we got a leak. You see one little drop coming down. It's just one little drop. It's tempting to ignore it, right? It's tempting to just put a little bowl there and say, it's one little drop. It's no big deal. It'll be fine. But what's going to happen? What's very likely to happen if you ignore that leaky roof? The mess is going to be so much worse. The damage is going to be so much worse. It's going to be so much harder to fix that problem if you wait and if you ignore it, right? If you act right away, it's a little patchwork. It's annoying. You have to get someone to come out and help, or you do it yourself. It's a little bit of effort. It's annoying, but you fix it and you move on. But if you wait and go, oh, it's fine, ignore, head in the sand, it'll be fine, and then your roof caves in. Woo, that's such a different problem to have. And it's the same with our children's learning to read education. If you take care of it right away when they are younger, it is so much easier and simpler to fix. You got to put a little extra effort in. You might use a little more time than you expected, but isn't that better than the alternative of waiting until they're in second, third, fourth, fifth grade? And now you have what I call the two-headed dragon, because you're not only dealing with filling in the gaps that they have, but you're dealing with their self-esteem. Because now you have a third, fourth, fifth grader who's really embarrassed that they're not reading like their friends, that they're struggling with these words, that they don't know how to decode, that their homework feels really hard. It takes so long to do homework. It's so hard. You got the double-headed dragon as your kids get older, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is not ignore this seemingly small issue. It's not really a small issue. Just like a leak in the roof is not really a small issue. You got to do something about it. You got to do something today. You got to recognize that your child has gaps in their learning. If their reading is here and their spelling is here, start taking action. I am taking action for my son who's a first grader by actively teaching him skills at home that he might be missing at school, because I do not want his roof to cave in. I'm going to keep going with that metaphor. You do not need to wait for a teacher to tell you to step in. You can step in if you're noticing these things now. You have every single right and you can have every single resource handed to you. If you take action now, you can make a huge difference so your child doesn't fall further behind. Okay. Now, here are the two things I want to tell you. One, the first thing you need to find out what your child's gaps are. Imagine the leaky roof. You need to find the leak, right? We need to find what your child's gaps are exactly, precisely. If you're inside our Miss Betty Reads kit, guess what? We do this for you with our Glow and Grow assessment. We will tell you exactly the gaps your child has in all those early skills. So you don't have to worry about it. If you are not inside our Miss Betty Reads kit, you need to go find a diagnostic assessment. You need to give it to your child. You need to figure out what those gaps are. Okay, so that's step one, is you need to know where the gaps are. You can't just blindly, it's like shooting an arrow with a blindfold on. That's what you're trying to do. Let's not do that. Let's take the blindfold off. Let's figure out where our targets are and hit those. And again, if you're inside our kit, we take care of that for you. And then you're going to target those. Now your blindfold's off. You got your target. You know exactly what you're working on. Now you're going to target those skills. The one huge thing you can do, here's a method that is so impactful for spelling. It's called word mapping. And it's actually really simple. You're going to take that information you have from the assessment, either from our Glow and Grow assessment, if you're inside our kit, or the diagnostic assessment you do with your child. You're going to start with one skill. You're going to target that one skill, and you're going to have your child map a bunch of words with that skill. This is mapping. Ready for this? It's so not intimidating. One, have your child say the sounds of the word you're mapping out loud. If it's the word bat, they're going to go b, a, t. Simple, right? You can draw lines on a piece of paper for each sound. B, a, t. There'd be 3 lines. And then you go, how do we spell those sounds? And your child's going to jump in and spell each sound. If they can't spell one of those sounds, you know that's an area you need to focus on. If they don't know that A spells a in the middle of bat, we need to keep practicing. I need to keep teaching you more about that short A. Again, inside the Miss Betty Reads kit, we'll do that for you. We'll do all the word mapping. We'll do all the teaching. We'll teach them all the skills. You don't need to be an expert. If you're not inside the Miss Betty Reads kit, you are going to want to know a lot about how our language works. You're going to want to know about short vowels, long vowels, diphthongs, digraphs, all these fun things. You're going to want to know that because you're going to want to directly teach your child. If you're not interested in becoming a reading expert, if you're like, what? I'm not going to go learn all that. What are you talking about? Join the Miss Betty Reads kit, because you don't need to be a reading expert. My personal opinion is, unless you are like me teaching my own son, yes, I am a reading expert and I work with my son. But unless you're in that situation, you don't need to be. Just like my son gets OT support, I don't want to be an OT. I don't want to go learn all the things that they know. I want to be able to be there to cheer him on and to say good job and to make sure he gets to his lessons and all that stuff like that. That's your role. Your role is to be the cheerleader. You don't need to be the reading expert. We got you for that. So if you're inside the Miss Buddy Reads Kit already, we got you. If you're not, join today. And we got you. We will help you with word mapping. Because remember, this is a really powerful technique you can use every single day for 2 to 3 minutes and see huge gains. But you need to know what to work on. You need to know what to work on, and you need to know how to teach each of those skills. If you are interested in trying out the Miss Buddy Reads Kit, which is less than $1 a day, to let us do all the teaching, all the assessing, all the hard work for you, click the link in the description below or around this video, wherever it ends up. And I want you to try it out. It's less than $1 a day. It's $27 a month, covers the whole family, and we'll take care of the assessment. We'll take care of the teaching. We'll target the skills your child has and fill in their gaps. We've seen such amazing results from kids with dyslexia, ADHD, kids who maybe their school just did not teach them the right way, so they're struggling because of that. We can help your child get on track with reading and make it super simple and super fun. So check it out. Click the link below. And otherwise, if you're choosing to do it on your own, absolutely you can. Find the assessment, do your word mapping, read decodable stories, and there's some other stuff too. But yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope this helps fill in those gaps. Find and fill those gaps. Check out the Miss Buddy Reads program, and I'll catch you in the next one.